Good afternoon, everyone. It is so nice to see everyone here after our long break due to COVID-19. We are fortunate to have with us today our supervising minister, Reverend Dennis Fujimoto. Let us begin with quiet meditation. Please sit quietly together and place your hands together in Gassho. Sensei will ring the bell to begin and end our meditation.
Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida, Namo Amida, Namo Amida, Namo Amida.
Please stand for our opening gatha, which is found in the purple book, Namo Amida Butsu, on page 174, and remain standing for the reading of the Three Treasures 1 on page 8. Three Treasures 1 on page 8. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not realize the truth in this life, when will it be realized? Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we absorb ourselves in the principle of the way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves the supreme will. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we be submerged in the depths of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. I take refuge in the Sangha. May we live in harmony in the great assembly as disciples of Buddha and be freed from all hindrances, becoming units in true accord in the life of harmony in a spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through myriad ages of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teaching. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. The names of the Shotsuki Hoyo Honorees for this month will now be read. Those family members and friends observing Shotsuki Hoyo, please come forward to offer incense during the reading of the names. Mei Shotsuki Hoyo Honorees. Takashi Koga. Yachio Yamamoto. Tomie Ito. Sana Otani. Denichi Otani. Katsukuma Ueda. Hifumi Miyazaki. Kanematsu Ikegami. George Kazuo Shizuru. Tsugie Ito. Marlene Masada. Joe Isamu Furusho. Masae Kawahara. Helen Yoshiko Furukawa. George Masashi Tsurumoto. Mieko Witt. Jerry Morita. Stephen Yas. Helen Tsujihara. Umeyuki Taniguchi. And Donna Tokugawa. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Sensei will now offer Sambujo on page 24, followed by a dedication. Today's sutra chanting will be Amida Kyo, starting on page 103, and we will do the first half.
Today, on this occasion, for the Shotsuki service for the month of May, members of our temple family have reverently come before Amida Buddha in memory of their beloved. With deepest reverence for the wisdom and compassion of Amida, we have reaffirmed the three treasures. Namo kie Butsu, Namo kie Ho, Namo kie So. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Please repeat the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, 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 Namanda. 蘭順七十羅も七十五十改正司法主訴医療成功非国名万国楽者利王国ら国道牛ポチ薬毒水十万五中地帯順に本社富士市営ガイド今後ルリアリ五条上路各役員今後ルリアリ釈主名の離言直視地中連芸大名シリ小式小古大式王公釈式釈古白式白古微妙高血シリオラ国道行税功徳将軍うしゃり法非部国土調査天学黄金二次昼夜六時にうまんだらけ広告修上上位小丹各位英国上州妙慶供養打法十万六分即位直時伝統本国門直教業シリ法国ら国土長寿尿税功徳将軍武士シャリ法非国上主従奇妙座式市長薬国着法務シャリ多量便が愚名市長聖書州長長夜六時水和下音五音年長高根合力七宝大文八正道文尿税東方行動修正改正恩に改心年分年法年相シリ法名物意市長実税祭法少少少医者が異部国土無三幕州シャリ法五部国土小無三幕土市名家教無人税所州長改税阿弥陀文欲量法音川流変化少佐シャリ法非部国土非不水道小法五十九法ラモ水味妙音医療百戦十学同時草音税音社会時年上年仏年法年相死神シャリ法五部国土長寿量税功徳将軍
ナ
namanda, 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 namanda.
We will now have a Dharma message by Reverend Dennis Fujimoto.
Namanda, 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 namanda. Good afternoon, everyone. Okay, so nice to be here, and we've all been waiting for this occasion, so it's very special to be able to sit in our pews and to be able to chant together. So I'm appreciating everyone being here and chanting the Amida Kyo. Let me tell you my Amida Kyo story. So when I was younger, student days at the Institute of Buddhist Studies, and we were Oakland Buddhist Temple members. So I would go, particularly on Shotsuki Sunday, and my mother, she puts up the names at our home altar at home and clips them on for the month. And it seems like there's rarely a month where we don't have names to honor. So my mom is 96 years old now, so she's collected a good number of names. She even has one for my dog, Quicker. So we would go to the Oakland Temple together, and at that time, Yamoka Sensei was the resident minister there, and so he would chant the Amida Kyo, and many temples, and Oakland was one, that they would come up in Oshoko during the chanting, and that's something that I prefer not to do, but he would chant the Amida Kyo really, really fast. And so towards the end, people are coming up to Oshoko and they lose their place, so they just sit there because no one knows what page we're on. And so my mother and I, maybe a little bit more accustomed, we're the only two chanting with Sensei, right? So this is how it would go month after month. They're chanting real fast, and all the voices would fade away as they come up to Oshoko. And then finally, just maybe three, maybe a couple others would be chanting with Sensei. So because of that, when I became in this position to lead, I decided maybe it's better, I would rather have participation than to do it properly and do the whole chant as we were supposed to be doing. I'd rather have all the voices chanting. So I cut it in half, slowed it down. Let's all chant together. And the Oshoko story is a different story, so I'll leave that out today. But because of that, I wanted participation, all the voices joining in on the sutra chanting. So anytime we do this sutra chanting, I would like to have all the people participating, and yeah, I could do the story. I really appreciate when people chant, all our voices come together in this oneness of this chanting voice. At first, some people might be a little bit hesitant. I've had people, field trips coming to the temple, busload of third graders, all different cultures and colors coming in, and I would have them chant the Jusei Ge. And at first they're a little bit hesitant and looking at each other. They don't know what's going on. Just do the chanting. And so after a little while, all the voices are in there chanting. And I told them, first you're hesitant, maybe you're self-conscious, and this is all your ego-centeredness. But after a while, you start to listen to all the voices becoming one. And their comment at the end is, oh, I get it. Oh, I get it. So even people not accustomed to coming to a Shin Buddhist service, they would get it and understand that. And to stop chanting to Oshoko, it disrupts this oneness. And because of that, I felt like, it was somebody had an idea to come up and chant, probably a board member saying, let's not waste this time altogether, and let's do something else while we're chanting, and we could come up in Oshoko too and get that done. We'll have them both done, okay? And so Not a good idea. Just chant. When we chant, just chant. When we oshoko, just oshoko. Yeah? So to me, it makes sense. And I see a few people going, yeah, that makes sense, right? So this is my thought process as we go into that, okay? So thank you for letting me share these today. And today, for the Shotsuki service, I have this Jataka tale. And Jataka tales are, many of you know, stories of the lives of the Buddha, previous lives of the Buddha. And in ancient India, it was thought that the Buddha, Shakyamuni Buddha, he couldn't possibly just in one human lifetime become enlightened. So he must have had many previous lives practicing, training, and preparing himself for his awakening experience to enter into his enlightenment stage. So all these previous lives of the Buddha, sometimes they would be not necessarily of a person, but maybe the life of an animal, maybe a monkey or an elephant or some other form of life, practicing the Dharma and adding to his training as in becoming enlightened, okay? And these stories have even spread to other cultures. You might hear very similar stories to a Jataka tale and say, gee, that sounds familiar. And so Aesop's fables, those are, they say, rooted in the Jataka tales. So the Jataka tales were transmitted and utilized again and again, shared again and again, and made their way to different countries, different cultures, and became planted in other cultures as well. So often we'll hear another story, gee, I thought I heard that as a Jataka tale, and that's the reason why. So in this story, there's a Prince Sattva, and he had two other brothers, and they were out in the forest exploring and enjoying their day out in the forest, and they came across this female tigress, and so she was starving to death. She had 7 cubs, and she was trying to take care, but she hadn't eaten for a while, so she's getting very hungry and losing her strength. And so she was thinking maybe she doesn't have the strength to raise her cubs, and so maybe she should eat them and to regain her strength so that she could continue her life. So she's really contemplating to eat her 7 cubs. And the 2 elder brothers, Sattva's elder brothers, saw this scene, and seeing this hungry tiger, they ran away, okay? And so Prince Sattva, he had a different perspective, and he thought he would sacrifice his life. So he climbed up on the cliff, and he jumped off the cliff to the tigers, and so the mother could claim his body and ate the prince to regain her strength, okay? And so Prince Sattva, he was acting spontaneously, but he's thinking also, my life is just a temporary vehicle. Maybe I should just give up my own life. This poor tiger trying to raise her cubs is suffering. So jumped off the cliff and gave his life. So this is a sense of dana, right? Selfless giving that we talk about during Ohigan, the 6 paramitas. The first one is dana. So this sense of dana, that he gave up his own life. And how many of us would think like that? Usually we think, I couldn't possibly do that. My life is maybe more important than that of a tiger, or I have so many people depending on me, I can't just give up my life. It's going to influence my spouse or my children or my parents that I'm taking care of. I can't just leave and disappear. My own life is connected to so many others. So for various reasons, we might hold off to not come to that type of conclusion. And so this type of dana might be considered the ultimate sacrifice, to give up your own life. And who of us would think like that, right? We think of dana maybe to purify our words, our thoughts, and our actions, and striving to become closer to this sense of ideal dana, but not to give up our own lives. So I think this is the sense in general Buddhism, to continue practicing, to prepare ourselves, polish ourselves, to become closer and closer to a pure dana, selfless giving. And so in Jodo Shinshu, our perspective is different, okay? So this is the point to the talk. In Shin Buddhism, we're not the prince, okay? When we listen to the story, we think to identify with the prince, the hero of the story who made this ultimate sacrifice. But in Jodo Shinshu, we are the tigress, right? The prince's body just fell out of the air and we ate it. We're not saying, oh, how thankful I am the prince sacrificed himself. The tigress is not aware of that. Just a meal appears and we benefit and we eat, right? So we go to McDonald's and we order the Big Mac, right? And we have it and open it. We just received it. We're not thinking of everything. Hopefully we said itadakimasu and think about all these causes and conditions that allowed us to have this meal. And so this itadakimasu is awareness of Prince Sattva jumping off the cliff, right? So we don't know who Prince Sattva is. When we say itadakimasu, there's countless causes and conditions allowing us to have this meal, whether it's a Japanese meal at Kyoto restaurant or somewhere else, wherever we might go, or at home for a special meal with our families, Mother's Day dinner with our families, whatever it is. When we say itadakimasu, we are gratefully receiving this dana from people that we don't know, we don't recognize, right? So here, when we listen to this story, I think it would be the usual sense that we identify or think about the prince and how we might fall short, but we don't necessarily think that we're the tiger in this story. So when we come to this type of service, particularly the Shotsuki service, we are acknowledging the benefit, the support, the love, the connections that we have had from the family members that we have lost, recognizing all our Shotsuki families, whether they are parents or children, loved ones, right? Grandparents, whoever they might be, all these Shotsuki connections, in particular today, but in general, whoever we may have lost in our families. These are our Prince Sattva, right? All the infinite causes and conditions that allow me to live my life as it is today. Okay, so this is our Shin Buddhist perspective, and oftentimes it's different, but we can recognize that. So when we come together and enjoying a meal, saying itadakimasu, Namo Amida Butsu, itadakimasu, this is all of this, and recognizing the story, the sacrifice of so many. All right. So please join me in Kansho. We will conclude this Dharma message. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, Namanda, Namanda. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for your message today, Sensei. This will conclude today's service. I would like to thank Reverend Fujimoto for officiating and his Dharma message, Darryl Yagi for ringing the Kansho and setting up the altar, Kevin Iwamura for the music, and Dang Luang for the flowers, offerings, and obupan. Please take good care of yourselves and have a nice day.